Finally, time to talk about my top 15 films of 2024. Before we do that, though, runner-ups. Love Lies Bleeding, Challengers, A Real Pain, Greedy People, The Luckiest Man in America, Werewolves, The Apprentice, Die Alone, The Rule of Jenny Penn, Sting, A Quiet Place, Day One, The Beekeeper, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I, the Executioner, also known as Veteran 2. So there's quite a bit of films in 2024. I watched a lot of films, a lot of good horror films. So you'll be surprised that a lot of them made it to this list. Papa is number 15. It is a Hong Kong drama film based off a true story, a very harrowing and emotional, brutal story about Nin. He is a family man who runs a 24-hour restaurant with his wife. He's got 2 kids, however, his life is forever changed when his teenage son with schizophrenia kills his daughter and his wife. And he ends up losing everyone in one night, and it ends up being a very harsh kind of film. This movie starts off with him sort of just drifting around in a depression, but whenever we have flashbacks about the family, the movie is like saturated in sunlight and it's filmed differently. This movie's not gross. It doesn't try to sensationalize the violence like true crime stuff in America, North America. This one goes for a more delicate sort of story about just how something can happen and how everything can be taken away. It doesn't try to say anything about mental health issues or anything like that. It's more of a showcase of a familial bond and how things can change in an instant. We're getting an amazing performance from Sean Lau, probably one of his best of his career. But the film is also divided into small chapters focusing on a different character. So there's Nin, his wife, then his daughter, then his son, and even the cat. So Papa is an amazing tour de force film, and that's why it's number 15. Sonic the Hedgehog is number 14, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This movie really surprised me because I'm not really a big fan of Sonic the Hedgehog the movies. I played the games when I was a child. The first 2 films I watched only on DVD because I didn't think they would be worth watching in theaters, but they're actually like pleasantly competent children's films. They're basically almost like superhero movies, but with different characters. So the first one and second one really surprised me, and you get Jim Carrey back in an unhinged, hilarious role. This movie's no different. This movie ups the stakes with a new villain, Shadow the Hedgehog. He's basically been in stasis for many years and has a tragic backstory. And then we get a new character of Eggman's grandfather. It all culminates into stuff we've seen before, the gems and everything, superpowers, less robots this time around, I guess, but more zany antics with Eggman's grandfather. Honestly, Jim Carrey's playing double duty, and he's just so good in this movie. Robs every scene that they're in. There's a great gravity sequence. There's a great robot tech duel at the end. There's satellite action. And even Keanu Reeves doesn't feel like he's miscast as Shadow. He plays it very angsty and very serious. And, you know, you got small roles for Tails and Knuckles, and even a good moral for the kiddies, too, with not letting your anger get in the way of justice or vengeance or whatever. Really good stuff. You know, the human characters at least have something to do and they don't feel superfluous. And yeah, the movie's just really solid. Definitely enjoyed. And that's why Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is number 14. Number 13 is The Substance. This is Corley Fargiat. I didn't watch her previous film because it sounded dumb, but this one was really good. This one is a satire of the female body gaze. We're following a famous actress who's a little over the hill, and her fitness show is canceled, and she's sort of let go. She's over the hill. She's on 50th birthday, so they want to push her out. However, someone from the hospital says, hey, you want to take some drugs? And gives her a card to order the substance, an illegal futuristic thing that allows her to rebirth as her young, better self. However, they don't tell her that the younger version of herself literally grows out of her own body, and she has to take care of each other, and there's like gaps of memory and sort of weird little things going on. It's like a Gremlins kind of thing where you have to follow the rules, and obviously they don't follow the rules because they get a little bit away with the plot. So essentially This actress births a younger, hotter version of herself, and she ends up getting a new show. And since she's so popular, she wants to basically be there all the time and not switch back. This movie doesn't really make sense, to be honest. There's a lot of like stuff that's just not really explained, like how does this Sue character have a passport? How does she get a job? You know, she literally came out of nowhere. Why are they still doing fitness shows in the future? You know, the stuff at the end. But honestly, it's a satire. You're not supposed to think about it too hard. It's trying to play up the weirdness of it. It's kind of like when a character just starts shouting "yeah" at a political rally and people go "yeah." It's like a satire. It's not supposed to make sense. It's just stuff that's happening. So definitely gorgeously shot and really razor sharp commentary, but also amazing body horror that just makes you squirm. Definitely one of the more visceral theater experiences I had. So that's why The Substance is number 13. Exuma is number 12. This one is a Korean horror film about shamans. They go around doing little jobs for people. However, they find a job too big for the four of them, and they end up getting into a lot of trouble with a grave buried on a hill and a sinister old force that may have some deep-seated uncomfortable history with the family who's trying to rid the spirit that's sort of hanging around. This movie is really uncomfortable, to be honest. It definitely is so unique because of the story. You think you're getting a kind of movie for the first hour. You know, it's like your simple, we're here to cleanse the grave or whatever, and then it just turns it on its head, becomes a lot more sinister, a lot more disturbing and violent. Really great performances all around. You know, the Choi Min-sik and the lady from Parasite, and it's just really good. I mean, it does turn some of the cliches on its head, but it's definitely something new and original. It's definitely super creepy. Really good story. You know, a little bit long, but it's really effective in terms of storytelling. So that's why Exuma is number 12. Oddity is number 11. Now, this is a really good throwback to the classic old horror films where uncomfortable silences, creepy atmosphere, everything about this feels retro and awesome. It's from the director of Caveat. This movie, I was able to watch it in theaters, and wow, what an experience. This movie is about a woman living in an old house, and a mysterious man knocks on her door and says there's someone in there, you need to leave. She doesn't believe him, and then she ends up getting killed. The lady's twin blind sister wants to investigate because she can sort of see things by touching them, not physically, but like supernaturally, and she thinks that the death of her sister is suspicious, so she wants to go over there and stay. She brings a weird thing with her too in a trunk, and she basically wants to investigate her brother-in-law, who she thinks may know who the killer is. And this movie is very simple in terms of plot, but the execution's amazing. You know, like, it's just so creepy. The house, the characters, they're all lesser-known actors, but it's just so good. And, you know, the conclusion is great, too. Really enjoyed this one. Very retro, classic horror. That's why Oddity is number 11. Never Let Go is number 10. This one was definitely under the radar, which is weird because Halle Berry is an Oscar-winning actress. And in this movie, she plays a mother who has two sons, and they live in this little cabin in the woods. And they basically have one rule: never let go. Whenever they need to go out, they have to tie a tether to the rope around their bodies attached to the house so that they can never get pulled away by the evil beings that will try to lure them away. So this movie is directed by Alexandre Aja, who does a lot of films. He did Crawl and High Tension and Mirrors. So there's a lot of grotesque, you know, horror stuff in this, creatures, and they're basically trying to get at the children, and she's got to like keep them safe. This movie is pretty simple. You know, it's kind of a creature feature, psychological horror, because we find out some stuff going on later. But overall, this one was definitely a hidden gem. You know, it definitely, when I watched it in theaters, there's only one other person in the theater, and it only played for like 2 weeks, not even, I think, and then made no money at the box office, but it's definitely left a big impression on me because of the motherhood aspect, which I really like. So that's why Never Let Go is number 10.